Cats see something in you that even you can't quite perceive. And this isn't just a metaphor, it's real. They don't come near you by chance, nor do they follow you simply out of fondness. They're drawn to something subtle in your energy field, something that catches their attention before you even notice it yourself. Have you ever looked by a cat on the street? Watch silently, as if someone were reading your soul? They don't look away. They don't ask for anything. They just stay there, as if in their mysterious silence, they know exactly who you are. As if they recognize something you've forgotten. A cat's presence goes far beyond noticing your face, your clothes, or your scent. It turns towards something much older, much deeper, a vibration that lingers even when you're standing still. Some call this feline intuition. Others might say it's a kind of animal sensitivity or even spiritual perception. But no label truly captures the profound sensation of being seen by a creature that doesn't judge, doesn't explain, just sees. And when that gaze locks on you, it feels like it reaches into hidden places within, as if uncovering secrets you haven't yet faced. Maybe, in the end, it's not really about the cat. Maybe it's about you, about something you carry inside. A unique vibration, known only to those who, even without remembering, are already awakening to the essence of true existence. If you've ever felt a cat look at you, like it already knew you, write in the comments, "I remember the gaze." You never owned a cat. You never called for one or offered anything. Still, they show up suddenly, at the gate, on the sidewalk, in the middle of the street. They come out of nowhere, uninvited, but with a quiet purpose. They look at you like they have something to say, yet no words are spoken. They simply observe, fix their gaze, and then walk away as if their task is complete. You try to forget the moment, but it lingers, like a whisper passing through your body. This isn't just an animal crossing your path. It's a feeling one that stirs a mysterious call within, a vibration that defies any ordinary explanation. It's as if these cats are checking something, confirming the presence of a frequency that few are aware of. They move on, but not before something is exchanged, an invisible pact sealed in silence. No one talks about this. No one teaches what to do when a cat stares at you like it knows more than you do. Many think it's cute, curious, even sweet. But for those who feel it, for those who've been touched by the unseen, this experience holds another meaning. There's a silence in the gaze of these felines that hums, that carries a message from deep within. The enlightened recognize that silence, because they've been marked by it. They know something is happening beyond the visible, a movement without name, constantly unfolding. These subtle moments, filled with meaning, awaken in you a sense that reality stretches far beyond what the eyes can see. And behind every feline stare, there may be a message reaching into the core of your being. Maybe you've never had a cat. Maybe you never raised one, never even cared, and yet they appear. They cross your path on the strangest days, when your mind is clouded, when your heart aches for no reason, when you feel like you don't belong anywhere. And there it is. It shows up quietly, looks at you with no rush, and stays as if it knows you're on the verge of breaking. It's not coincidence. It's not madness. It's resonance. There's something inside you that sends signals when you're vulnerable, something that opens up even when you try to hide it. These beings sense those frequencies before anyone else. While the world around you remains unaware of your weariness, the weight you carry, or the doubt consuming you, the cat notices. It becomes a silent mirror, reflecting your truest self, reaching into places you may not even have noticed within. You might doubt what you feel. You might question whether it's real or just imagination. But those who are awakening learn, sooner or later, that this kind of presence isn't random. It's an answer, a calling from the invisible that almost always arrives just before the fall. A subtle sign that your soul is asking to be seen. And in that calm, penetrating gaze, the cat shows you that even in the darkest moments there is someone tuned into what your essence is trying to say. And this silent connection, this quiet recognition, could be the first step toward reconnecting with the truth that lives inside you. There is something in a cat's gaze that transcends time. A familiarity that shouldn't exist and yet undeniably does. It's a silent recognition, as if the meeting has happened before, in another place, another life, another form. The enlightened feel it like an ancient echo, a longing they can't quite name. It's not a fantasy, it's vibrational memory. Fragments of past encounters, Still alive in the energetic field, you both continue to share. Some of these cats are not here for the first time. They've walked with you through other eras, under different skies. Maybe in forgotten civilizations, maybe among ruins or stars, they left behind a bond that endures through time. That's why their gaze is so deep. It carries a memory the mind can't reach, but the soul instantly recognizes. When they stare, they're not just looking. They're whispering, silently, "I remember you." And even if you don't fully understand it, you feel that truth pulsing within. This ancient connection awakens something inside you, a sensation you can't explain, but you know it's real. It reinforces the bridge between the visible and the invisible, between what once was and what will always be. Some people see cats as nothing more than quiet, strange, and independent pets. But the enlightened know there's far more to them than that. They're not just here to exist, they're here to feel, to reveal hidden truths. Cats aren't merely companions. They're living portals, connecting dimensions, bridging the seen and the unseen. Since the earliest civilizations, these beings have been known for their layered essence. In Egypt, for instance, they weren't just adored. They were feared and revered as guardians of temples, protectors of souls, beings who walked between worlds. They knew, even before we did, when something was approaching, when a mysterious presence entered the space long before anyone else could sense it. Even today, these feline beings continue to move with that same ancient wisdom. They walk into a room and pause, staring into what seems like emptiness, but with an attention that goes far beyond what ordinary eyes can see. What looks like an empty space to you is, to them, full of information, vibrations, and energy. They read the energy of a space, a body, and an aura with surprising precision. But more than understanding the environment, they read you. They know when your soul is restless, when your energy is fragmented, or when something is silently trying to slip into your being. And even without making a sound, these silent messengers send out signals, warnings that only those who know how to listen can truly receive. It's a call that echoes in stillness, waiting for you to connect with the truth that transcends the ordinary and embrace what it really means to be alive and awake. You might not notice. Maybe you're moving through life on autopilot, in silence, without asking for help, without speaking a single word, but your field speaks. Your energy pulses intensely, even when you believe you're fading. And cats, they hear what the world cannot sense. The enlightened vibrate differently. It's as if their frequency doesn't fit within the noise of daily life. Even on days when you try to hide, something within you stays lead a light that draws others in, even when you're not seeking attention. This happens because your soul is already in motion, awakening to a new reality. These animals pick up on such subtle shifts that it's as if they're decoding secrets from the unseen. They know when there's something special in the atmosphere and, more importantly, when someone carries an essence that doesn't quite belong to this time. That's why it's not uncommon, in the midst of many people, for a cat to walk straight to you, without explanation or any obvious reason. They don't need to sniff you or analyze. They simply feel. They recognize a light in your field, a light you may not even be aware of yet, but which they, without a doubt, have seen before. This silent connection is a reminder that there is always more, something beyond what ordinary eyes can perceive, something the enlightened already know by heart. They show up when everything seems out of order, when the mind is screaming but no one hears, when the world keeps spinning, indifferent and inside. Feel like you're sinking into silent chaos. It is in these moments of internal disorder, when the pain feels invisible to everyone else, that cats often appear. They don't arrive with a scene. They don't demand attention. They simply come near, as if they were messengers from another time. Sometimes they sit beside you in silence. Other times they lie down near you, as if they know exactly. And even if you can't understand why, there's something comforting in that calm presence, a strange kind of relief that settles into your soul without asking anything in return. While the world around you is too busy to notice your hidden pain, the cat sees you with a clarity that goes beyond words. They read what you don't show, feel what you try to hide, and stay there with no hurry, no demands, needing no explanations. To many, that behavior may seem small, insignificant, but to the enlightened, that silence is everything. It's a kind of listening that doesn't come through the ears, but directly through the soul. And when they stay even in complete silence, something inside you begins to remember, a gentle memory that you are not alone. This quiet connection is a powerful reminder that, even in the hardest moments, there is a presence that understands, that holds you, and that helps you keep going. It was one of those days when everything seemed to fall apart. The outside world kept moving in its usual rhythm, but inside, something was slowly collapsing, as if every piece of your being was dissolving in silence. It felt like rock bottom, a place where no word can comfort, no gesture can reach, and no way out can be found. And in that moment, in the thickest silence, it appeared. Without warning, without sound, almost like the universe decided to send a sign. A cat you'd never seen before, approaching slowly, with the calm of one who already knows exactly where the pain is hiding. It came closer, gently pressed its body against yours, and simply stayed. No meowing, no demands, no dramatic reaction. Just its presence, steady and quiet, made everything feel a little less heavy. That soft touch, that serene and unhurried gaze, conveyed more than any words of comfort ever could. It wasn't forced consolation, it was recognition. As if the cat were saying deeply and silently, "I know." And somehow, that simple moment was exactly what you needed to ease the loneliness of that day. The enlightened understand that encounters like this don't happen by chance. It's as if, right at the moment of inner collapse, an unseen force decides to send someone or something to hold the space and keep hope alive. That feline presence, appearing when all seems lost, is a reminder that even when the soul is wounded and your light seems to fade, it still pulses, still lives, and there's always a sign that you're not alone. Some believe cats are distant, unpredictable, indifferent. But those with deeper sensitivity know there is a hidden function behind that quiet presence. They're not just here to observe, they're here to act. Cats are spiritual filters. They transmute what you can't perceive. They clear what you can't name. And many times, they hold in the energy field what could have overwhelmed you if it had reached your consciousness. They absorb, they recycle, they protect. Some say they simply disappear, but the enlightened know, those with a mission don't just vanish, they choose when to come and when to go. These feline beings read the room, scan the frequency, and identify invisible ruptures in the space you live in. And when they decide to stay, it's because something needs to be held. When they leave, it's because their work is done. Nothing is random. No gesture is ordinary. Everything is a precise reading of the unseen. And each approach carries a hidden purpose, with surprising clarity revealing that, even in their quiet ways, cats are always connected to a greater mission. Maybe you thought it was just a sweet gesture, a cat lying in the corner of your room, watching you silently, offering quiet company. But what you thought was simple cuteness was actually a powerful shield. These animals sense what you don't. They detect subtle changes in the energy around you. They pick up on presences that never show themselves physically. They feel when spiritual intruders are nearby, when the energy becomes heavy, when something is trying to weaken you from within. And without you even knowing it, they acted. They protected your home, your mind, your energy. They interrupted the flow of something that had already chosen you as a target without noise, without asking for anything. They just stayed there, as they always do, steady, calm, alert, as silent barrier against what could have harmed you. The enlightened who have lived through this know just how real this kind of protection can be. They may not have tangible proof, but the soul recognizes the truth. Because on that day, that night, that exact moment, something saved you. And even if you still don't fully understand how, that silent, attentive gaze from the cat carried a greater purpose, a reminder that when your vibration becomes vulnerable, there is always a guardian presence ready to act. You are changing. You may not have noticed it yet. Maybe you just feel more sensitive, more tired, quieter. But something inside you has already begun to shift, a subtle transformation growing from the inside out. And cats sense it before you even become aware of it. When someone's energy field begins to open, everything around them reacts. Emotions intensify, thoughts become more scattered, and dreams take on a new kind of vividness. This sensitivity isn't weakness, it's the sign that a crossing is underway, a deep movement into the unknown. The veil between worlds begins to thin, making the line between the visible and the invisible less and less clear. And it is precisely at this point that the cats appear. They don't come to speak in words, they come to anchor your energy as everything within you shifts. The enlightened experience this process in silence. It's not something that gets announced or explained, it's simply felt, deeply and intuitively. And when a cat meets your gaze in such a moment of transformation, it's as if it's saying, without uttering a single word, "Yes, it's happening, and I'm here." This connection almost mysticalis, a quiet reminder that you're not alone on this path of awakening. That attentive gaze confirms your transformation is being witnessed by forces operating far beyond what the eyes can see. It's a sign that your soul, even if still unclear to your conscious mind, is beginning to reorganize, to open itself to a new reality, to a reality where the invisible becomes part of who you are. You felt it, but you tried to rationalize. Those sudden chills, the insomnia that wouldn't go away, the strange dreams filled with symbols you couldn't explain, the unexplained urge to isolate yourself, the physical sensations light but persistent. Everything felt different. Something in the air seemed to have shifted, and it truly had. But you chose to overlook it, layering logical explanations over what was actually a call from your soul. The body spoke before the mind could understand. The soul began to respond before you even realized what was happening. And even without fully understanding or accepting this new reality, you were already sending signals, subtle alerts, that something deep was moving within you. While you tried to make sense of it all with reason, your vibration had already changed, drawing the attention of those who know how to read beyond words. But the cat didn't overlook anything. It noticed every change, every shift in your energy field, every subtle signal you couldn't yet interpret. It entered the space without hesitation, came close, lay near you, and stared, not because you called, but because your vibration drew it in. The enlightened learn that awakening rarely begins with clarity, it always starts with discomfort and confusion. And what the cat does is simple, yet sacred. It responds to what is still unclear within you. It recognizes what your awareness hasn't yet dared to face, and, in that silent gaze, it delivers the message that your awakening is already underway. Sometimes, it doesn't show up physically. It appears in your dreams, subtly. Maybe you don't remember clearly, but there was a cat watching, following, or simply standing in the distance, staring. In those moments, nothing is literal, everything is vibrational. Each image, each quiet movement, carries a message that goes beyond what the eyes can perceive. Dreaming of a cat is not mere coincidence. It is a silent visit that crosses between planes of existence. Often, it appears as a warning, other times, as a guide. And in some cases, as a healing gesture. It comes when your soul is ready to listen, even if your mind still resists, acknowledging the depth of what's taking place. The dream might seem strange, fragmented, full of symbols, but there is spiritual intelligence behind every scene. The cat is not there by chance. It was sent. Or rather, it answered a call from the unseen. The enlightened sense this. They know that dream was different from the rest, because a certain energy lingers upon waking. The air feels changed, and a chill refuses to fade. It's as if something was spoken, even though no words were said. That feline presence, crossing the boundaries of the visible, is a powerful reminder that the universe is always communicating with those who are awakening to the true essence of existence. At some point, doubt creeps in. But is it real? You wonder if it was just your imagination, a coincidence, a daydream brought on by loneliness, sensitivity, or exhaustion. It's natural to doubt, it's part of the process. Even the enlightened doubt, until they remember. The truth is, these encounters happen even to those who don't believe. Cats appear for people who've never had any bond with them, for those who fear them, or for those who try to avoid them but still can't escape the call. They don't need your permission to come near, they feel, and that's enough. Even when you hide from the world, keep your head down, and try to block out everything that pulses around you, they appear. As if they know that behind all your resistance, there's still a soul eager to awaken. They don't come because you're ready, they come because, even if you don't realize it, you've already begun to open the path. And when they choose to come near, it's never by accident. It's because in some way, you've been chosen too. Each feline gaze carries a silent message that transcends doubt and affirms that a greater energy is in motion, connecting those who, even in hesitation, are destined to uncover a truth that lies beyond the visible. If this message is resonating with you so far, go ahead and give it a like. It helps this message keep reaching the ones who need it. And leave a comment below, "I am enlightened." That way, we can begin to recognize one another. There's a kind of longing you've never been able to explain, a missing piece with no name and no address. It shows up in the silence, in empty nights, in memories that don't quite feel like yours but still carry a strange familiarity, as if they came from another place, another time. The enlightened know this longing because it doesn't come from childhood or from anything lived in this lifetime. It comes from elsewhere, from another home, a different origin that the mind has forgotten, but the body still remembers. And perhaps the most mysterious thing is that the cat feels that same longing. It doesn't just see you as a human, it watches you as someone it once knew on another plane, in another existence. Someone it once walked alongside silently, intimately. Its closeness isn't just earthly, it's cosmic, a connection that transcends time and space. Your meeting wasn't random. It was a reminder, an energetic whisper echoing in the silence saying, "You're not as far as you think." For a moment, everything makes sense. Not because you understood it with your mind, but because your soul felt it. In that feline gaze, carrying centuries of wisdom and forgotten memories, you find a reflection of your own essence, a sign that your soul has always been connected to something greater, to a cycle of meetings that stretch far beyond the material world. This connection, subtle and powerful, is an invitation to remember that the longing inside you isn't a void to be filled. It's a mark of your journey, a legacy from lives once intertwined. And when your eyes meet the gaze of a cat, it's as if the universe is whispering that even through absence and loss, there's always a presence walking with you, silent, eternal, and deeply true. Some cats disappear for days. Others vanish for months. And when they return, it's as if nothing ever happened. But the enlightened know, it's never without purpose. There is a silent mission behind their movements, a purpose that goes far beyond simply being present or absent. Often, they step away because they've completed an essential task. They cleanse the energy field, carry heavy vibrations, absorb what does not belong to them. And after doing so, they must retreat to restore themselves, to recharge. Their disappearance is not a failure or whim, it's part of the work, a stage in the cycle that keeps them in balance. They return when the energy allows, when the space becomes lighter, when you're ready for a new cycle. Sometimes, they come back the moment you remember themas, if they heard your call before you even spoke it. This coming and going is not absence. It is presence in another form, a sign that the rhythms of the universe move by a different logic, far beyond the rules of linear time. Spiritual cats know the right moment to step away, and just as precisely, the moment to return. Your connection with them doesn't rely on daily routine. It follows a hidden logic, a rhythm that can't be tracked by clocks. It's a subtle, sacred timing that reveals true presence, goes far beyond what's visible or immediate. While some might see their disappearance as coincidence, the enlightened understand it's a reminder that every departure and return is carefully orchestrated, a dance of energies reflecting the harmony of the invisible. After all, the bond between you and these beings isn't governed by human rules, it answers to a higher order, one that resonates in another time, another space, where everything is part of a vast and mysterious design. There's something about a cat's gaze that disarms you. It doesn't look away. It doesn't blink quickly. It stares with a depth that cuts through every layer you've built, those masks you've so carefully placed to hide behind. And that gaze can be uncomfortable, because it sees not just your surface, but what lies beneath. It sees your wounds. It knows where it still hurts. It senses where you try to hide what you don't want to face. It sees the gifts you ignore, the blockages you delay, the thoughts you won't admit even to yourself. Nothing escapes it. It's as if your soul becomes transparent in the presence of this silent being. That's why it's unsettling, not because the cat judges, but because it doesn't acknowledge the mask. It sees beyond it, to the truth you're trying to keep hidden. The enlightened know this gaze well. It's not a look of criticisms. It's a vibrational mirror that reveals without saying a single word. And when you meet that gaze, something inside begins to soften, to open. The wall you built to protect yourself slowly starts to come down, and you begin to remember who you really are. This silent, profound encounter between you and the cat becomes an invitation to authenticity, a call for your soul to finally show itself, even if that truth is uncomfortable or transformative. Not every cat is spiritual. Not every cat has a mission. Some are simply here to live the natural cycle of life, to eat, sleep, hunt, and receive affection. And that's perfectly okay. But there are others who carry something different. There is the physical cat, the one who lives in the ordinary world with ordinary behavior. And there is the spiritual cat, whose presence shifts the energy of a space without doing anything obvious. The difference doesn't lie in what they do but in what they emit. The enlightened feel it when a cat is not just a cat. When an encounter carries something more. It's not about the behavior, it's about what it awakens. The atmosphere changes. Your body reacts. Your soul stirs without any clear explanation. It's a vibration that goes beyond the tangible, leaving a subtle but unforgettable trace. You might not realize it in the moment, but it leaves a marked, invisible thread that remains long after they're gone. And when you try to explain it, words fall short. They can't quite capture something that was felt, not calculated. Something that wasn't rational but vibrational. And that, you feel deep within. You are not being followed, you are being guided. That presence watching you in silence isn't here to control you or invade your space. It's here to remind you, to anchor you, to keep alive a memory that the world tried to erase. Cats appear when your energy begins to shift, when what was dormant awakens and starts to move. They don't come by chance. They're here because you've awakened, even if you don't yet understand what that means. Maybe all of this still feels strange. Maybe you're still searching for rational explanations for this mysterious connection. But your soul doesn't need logic to recognize the truth. And when something inside you stirs at the sight of a feline gaze, it's because there's truth there, quietly waiting to be remembered. The enlightened live this connection in silence, because it's too subtle for ordinary words, yet strong enough to transform everything around you. Even if you don't fully understand it, now some part of you has always known. That presence, that gaze, it's a call to reconnect with the essence that has always existed within you. If, at any moment in your life, a cat looked at you as if it already knew you, leave your comment. I remember the gaze. That's not just a phrase, it's a memory that quietly activates. A mutual recognition between those who already know, even if they don't know how they know. This video doesn't really end here, because this connection is still alive within you. It doesn't depend on explanations or proof. Real communication happens in the field, in the soul, in that moment when something within you pulses differently in the presence of a cat. The enlightened don't say goodbye, they keep waking each other up. In simple gestures, in gentle words, in meetings that seem ordinary but carry deep meaning. This network of consciousness stays alive. If you've felt this here, it's because something in you is coming home, a reconnection with your essence that the world often tries to hide. And now, I leave one question in the air. But what about when the dog barks invisible? Maybe the answer lies where no one is looking. Or maybe you already know.